Folks, I'm live here in my front yard, and beautiful day here. Wonder what it is right now. Probably around, it's actually pretty hot today. You know, this morning it was pretty warm. It's been like in the 50s, mid 50s the past couple days is the low, but now it's been things have been warming up a little bit. Today it was probably like 65 as a low, and it's probably mid 70s now, maybe actually probably 80 now. It's pretty toasty out, but yeah, humidity is seems to have risen as well. Look at this. This is Sago Palms doing well. Everything's doing well. I mean, I really don't have any bad news to report, which is good. And yeah, this has flushed out two beautiful layers of fronds after, you know, what happened this winter, but it got a little bit damaged, not too bad, but yeah, it's done really well, and everything's done well. I mean, I have this other Sago Palm here, which is definitely not, but I don't even know where it is now. I think, oh yeah, I chucked it. I tossed it away. And same with the Bismarckia. That thing never came back, but look at this little thing. Slowly but surely making its way back. It's just so tiny. It's like, you gotta zoom in just to see it, but thankfully no one stepped on it yet, since it was chewed up by, I'm guessing, a squirrel or a rodent, something like that. I have another one in the back, a little chewed up, but I have like 40 seedlings, so it's no big deal, and it's actually coming back nicely. Yeah, I'm gonna go to over here, actually take a look over. By a lawnmower, reduced down. I mean, this grass hasn't been mowed in a while, but it was reduced like to that. There's like no leaves on it, and look how it's grown back. Your garden, and I'm absolutely heartbroken. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's just absolutely tragic, and I always really hate to hear of a loss of a single palm or exotic plant, but a loss like that on a large scale, I'm just so sorry to hear that. And hopefully that won't happen again. And I'm sure you can rebuild your collection, but that's a lot of stuff that you had, and things look pretty beat up, but I'm sure some of it'll regrow. I mean, those palms and stuff are tough, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of them start growing back even after maybe they look a little bit destroyed. But just good luck, and yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about that. Here's another, this eucalyptus mowed over, so I put this thing in, and these things actually thankfully help to not get it mowed over, and I think they haven't actually mowed through here at all because of this trellis, but slowly. Wow, a lot of weeds in here, Jesus. I want to be careful not to pull out the eucalyptus, but oh yeah, no problem, Dara. I'm just really sorry to hear that, and I feel your pain. I mean, that's never good when that happens. I remember when I lost one of my palms, I was heartbroken. I really was. It was just like this, you know, so sad. And then you lose something like that on a large scale. I'm sure it must be really difficult, but you will regain, I'm sure. And yeah, I'm sure you can regain your collection. And yeah, hopefully some stuff made it, but that's really unfortunate. How's the weather there in Ireland, by the way? In Southwest Ireland. Is it warm? Like here, it's probably, you can check the weather. I don't actually know if the weather is DC, but it's probably around 80 or so. It's toasty. It's humid. There's our native eastern hemlocks there. Those are beautiful trees, which have been fortunately killed off a lot in the area. I have some videos on them because there's an invasive insect that kills them. And here's another one, Eucalyptus cinerea. I actually transplanted this one. Look at this. Never seen anything like that. It's got like purple leaves. That's really unusual. Huh. That's really cool. Wow. So yeah, I haven't watered this thing in a while. It's a little bit brown, but yeah. Cool. Push pop. Got this from my brother. These things are good. Anyways, yeah, this is another cinerea of mine. None of them have really grown like this other one, because they've pretty much all been mowed over or chopped down in some way by various gardeners. So, because I plant them in the street and stuff. So this one's just growing like nuts, and I'm so glad to see how well it's done. Look at this thing. It's at least 4.5 feet now, probably more like 5, which is a lot higher than it. It really is really quite tall. camera ops down there. I'll go give you guys the grand tour. Max Hensel, good to see you. You're in Costa Rica, right? I saw some of your posts recently. That's super cool, and I'm really jealous of your climate, obviously. But Costa Rica, you can grow just about anything. Strega lipstick palm, that's what I always wanted to be able to grow. That's like the ultimate tropical palm. Maybe less well known than the coconut palm, but also less hardy. So it's more tropical in that it's like an ultra tropical. You won't find it anywhere outside of the tropics, except for in a greenhouse. So yeah, this is look at this thing. Sorry if the quality is a little blurry. There you go. Eucalyptus cinerea is absolutely exploded with growth. It's crazy. Look at this thing. Let me stand up here. So this is the stump of our old eastern white pine, which you see that hole there, that's just a rot. It's been forming there for a while, and the tree was unstable. We had to chop it, unfortunately, but it was a beautiful tree. It was 110 feet, so an absolutely massive eastern white pine. Sorry, one second. Sorry, one second. All right, there we go. Yeah, beautiful. Look at this thing. So yeah, that's, I mean, I'm up on the stump, and it's, yeah, that's probably closing in on 5 feet. That's a huge, huge uke. And down here, this thing, I don't know what happened. I like pushed over or something. This thing's leaning over a lot. I gotta upright it, but this is my eastern prickly pear, Punchy hemophusa. This is a native species, grows wild here in Montgomery County, Maryland, up and down the East Coast, really. It's actually incredibly widespread. This is a Puncha macrorrhiza. Sorry, it's just a one pad. It's covered in dirt right now, but it's doing well. It's an immature pad. It's a young one that I got from all my other cacti I got from the Arboretum. And yeah, that's the plains or western prickly pear, Puncha macrorrhiza, native to the Great Plains area and into the Southwest, I think, a little bit. And then we have, this is what's it called? A Puncha fragilis. This is a native species to the west coast, basically from the Midwest all the way to the West Coast, Southern Ontario, Southern Canada. It's the northernmost growing cactus in the world, growing up on the Alberta-British Columbia border, like in northern Alberta and British Columbia. Hardy to negative 50 Fahrenheit. This is the hardiest cactus in the entire world. And it's really unique because it's in a Puncha species, but unlike growing in pads, as you can see here, they grow in sort of potato-like lumps. And the spines, actually, I've been touching them. I touched them like very lightly. I didn't press my hands into them, but they're actually not that sharp. They look super sharp, and some of the other ones pierced through my gloves, and it hurt a lot. These are actually not that sharp. They're kind of bendable, so it's a really great species. One of my favorite cactus species, actually, at least that we can grow here. And here we have a Puncha littoralis variety linguiformis. Variety linguiformis. This is the cow's tongue prickly pear. Engelmannii variety linguiformis, and this is cow's tongue prickly pear, which is a variety of the Engelmann prickly pear, native to Texas. And so this is a semi-arid species, and it does well here. You can see I got this from a large specimen at the Arboretum. One of those giant spines, I don't know if you can see it there. There's a huge spine there. One of those went into my finger. I had gloves on and it hurt. Those are some sharp spines, but you can see it, obviously it was at like the end of the plant, sort of just growing along the ground. So it looks like it had maybe like a little bit of rotting and brown spots, but hopefully it'll put out some new pads soon, and those will be nice and healthy. And then obviously we have my camera ops humulus here. This thing, I need to trim back these flowers actually, but this thing has fronds going all the way in there. It's actually bigger than it looks, but it's come along slowly but surely. This was the first palm I purchased, and I planted it early this last spring, so I've had it in the ground probably a good 8 months now, and yeah, maybe 7-8 months, and it's done really well. It was originally over there behind those bushes, but I realized that, you know, once those hydrangeas came in, it would block out all the sunlight, and these are sun-loving palms. So yeah, I wanted to give these palms the proper sunlight that they deserve. So this camera up. So I moved it here. This is sort of my semi-arid garden. Obviously, a Puncha hemophusa is not exactly semi-arid, but you can see all the you know, mostly semi-arid species, Eucalyptus cinerea and all that. So yeah, sorry, I need to read your guys' comments. That's the cold, that's why the leaves are purple. Ah, I see. Interesting, I didn't know that. It hasn't been that cold here, but it's dipped into the 50s. Yeah. Oh no, Max, sorry, you're in Germany. I'm sorry, who am I confusing you with? There's another Max. Sorry about that, Max. Yeah, you're in Germany, exactly. 3 weeks ago. 10:21 p.m. Wow. Well, you don't feel obligated to stay up for this, but that's very nice of you to be here. Thank you. I always appreciate all you guys coming in here, and I mean, you're spending your weekends doing this, watching this. You guys definitely don't have to, but I really appreciate it. And it's always great to talk to you guys from all over the country and all over the world, and just palm lovers from all around the place, all over the place, and always great to interact, and we share a common interest, which is super cool, I think. Jacob Gonzalez, good to see you here. Hey, it's going well. How are you? How's the temperature, by the way, guys? Let me know. I know you guys are obviously in vastly different climates, vastly different regions, vastly different areas, but let me know what the weather is, and yeah, how things are going with you guys. How are your palms doing? How are your gardens doing? And 3:22 p.m. and I'm about to see if I can shoot some. Wow, you a hunter? Interesting. Good luck with that. Yes, get yourself a good meal with that. Hey, Camel Likes Coke, good to see you here. Thanks for joining in. And it's been a while. It's been like more than a month since I've done a live stream. I said last time I tried to do them more regularly, and I have not followed through with that. So I will try doing more regularly now, and I have some free time this afternoon. I was just like, why don't I do a live stream? I definitely haven't been doing them enough, and you guys seem to enjoy them, and I always appreciate seeing you guys here. So yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, you just want to show you guys this little front area and show you everything's doing well. Again, I'm doing a live stream from like another place besides my yard in a while, so maybe I'll go down to the National Mall sometime, do a live stream from there. That's always my favorite place to do it because there's so many palms and exotic plants there. It's crazy. 9:26 p.m. Wow, that's pretty late, Dara. That's crazy. That's a big difference. I always forget. I always just assume people are in our time zone, and then that's it's crazy. That's pretty late. And yeah, that's it is. What time is it here? It is 4:28 p.m. currently here, so yeah, it's actually felt earlier. I don't know why, but yeah, weather's been pretty good, pretty consistent, and it's pretty humid out. And yeah, feeling down a bit, so nice to see some gardening. Oh, Camel, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope everything's going all right with you. And yeah, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. I really do. Yeah, I'll just give you guys the grand tour. And I made a lot of videos on these trees. Again, you guys probably come here for exotic plants. These aren't exactly exotic plants at all, but these are our beautiful native eastern hemlocks. They're beautiful conifers, and I'm a huge conifer lover. And they're really beautiful, and they become under attack by this invasive species called the hemlock woolly adelgid, which is from Japan. It was introduced to the West Coast, I think, in the 20s, and then to the East Coast in the 50s. And in the West Coast, they're actually natural predators which kill it, and the trees are more resistant, so it's not a huge pest. But in the East Coast, there are no natural predators. What they do is they attach themselves. I don't know if you guys can see, there's two white lines on the underside of the needles there. Sorry about that. And what they do is they attach themselves, and you can notice them if you flip over the needles of any hemlock. Look for these because they grow in white clumps on the underside, and they're basically microscopic, but they have these egg sacs. And yeah, what happens is they grow on the underside, and they suck the nutrients out of the needles and from the tree, so the tree's unable to produce new needles. And the thing is, well, while there's your evergreen, conifers periodically shed their needles. So what happens is these will shed their needles, and you can see, for example, up there, those brown needles, those are needles which are about to be shed. This is actually shedding season for the needles. So you'll see a lot of them over here. Shed soon. And so what happens is they shed their needles, they keep shedding them, and then it never produces new needles. So it just keeps, the needles keep falling off, and you'll see all these dead branches. But thankfully ours have been treated, and they're doing really well. So I'm really glad to see that. And they're beautiful trees. I wish they wouldn't trim them quite as much, but yeah, they look really good, and good to see some healthy needles coming out of these things, because these are beautiful trees, and they're nothing compared to than some of the native ones here, which are huge. This is also native mountain laurel, another evergreen, beautiful species. I don't know what's happened here. If you guys know, let me know. Thankfully, it's putting out a lot of nice new growth at the base, but like half of this trunk here has all died recently. All these brown pieces of it. That's really strange, but you'll see these two plants growing together a lot. It's actually a great planting. I don't know who planted this, probably back a while ago, but you'll see these two growing together along stream sides, mountain laurel and eastern hemlock. They grow really well together. And yeah, in the wild. 16 Celsius at the moment. All right, Max, 16 Celsius. What is that like? Huh, is that like 65 Fahrenheit? No, it's gotta be colder than that. 16 Celsius? Huh. You guys can tell me what that is. I'm terrible with the Celsius Fahrenheit conversions. Excellent though. I mean, it sounds good. And yeah, Germany for the most part, I mean, the entire country pretty much has a pretty mild climate, which is just awesome. There's huge trackies, Jubea, all sorts of stuff in Germany that people wouldn't expect, especially in the south. My tree fern should survive. Oh, that's good to hear, Dara, because those are more rare. So I'm really glad to hear that. And I'm glad to hear something survives. I don't know if you guys know Dara. You can check out his channel, Southwest Ireland Rainforest. But some cattle went into his property, and all of his palms and tree ferns, which are pretty, you know, a lot of the younger ones were stomped on and by the cattle, and they actually destroyed a lot of his palms. So they destroyed a lot of his palms. So that's really unfortunate. And I was just super saddened to hear that. Just really tragic. But yeah, hopefully he'll rebuild the garden and something should grow back. Always, I need to move my mango. Ah, yes, I was gonna leave this thing here because I've heard of them surviving and growing back unprotected from the suckers, but the main trunks died. But you know what? I paid like 35 bucks for this, and it's a beautiful palm. So I'm gonna bring this inside. This is my lady palm, Rapis excelsa. It's actually grown a lot. I didn't water my needle palm. My needle palm's doing really well, but it actually had my needle palm had some brown fronds, and this thing, and I hadn't watered either of them. And this thing, I would think needs more water than the needle palm. And this thing, I haven't watered at all. I guess just because it's in such shade under the hemlocks that it's just it hasn't browned at all. I mean, it's just green from top to bottom, just beautiful, and it's put out a lot of new fronds here, which is awesome to see. But yeah, this is not fully hardy in their area. It's not even really marginal. It'll only grow back from the suckers in a mild winter. So I'm bringing this thing back inside. I'm gonna pot it up at some point. I'll make a video on that. But yeah, got to move those less hardy plants inside. So you should make a video on that, Camel. I want to see that mango. Your neighbor looks real. Oh, thank you, Max. Yeah, probably looks a little different from Germany. This house actually, they added a bunch of new paneling to the side, and they actually just put these rocks in. They dug up some of my cacti, so the gardeners here, my neighbor's gardeners, they don't always do such a good job. They interfere here sometimes, but thankfully they left my palms alone. If they mess with my palms, we're gonna have a serious conversation. But yeah, maybe I'll record it and we'll see what happens. No, hopefully they won't, because that isn't our property. So, but yeah, everything looks good. Yeah, the houses probably look a little different. These are definitely more American houses. The houses in Germany and in Europe just have a very different look to them. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's really, really nice of you to say. And yeah, this is where I was born. This is our old house it's from the late 20s. You can see this is all the original wood shingles, all the original ones. And we had the original white shutters on the front. So yeah, this is the house from the late 20s. This addition was made in the 50s, I think. This was originally a screen and porch, and then in the 50s they converted it into sort of just another room. But you can see, because it was a screen and porch, there's like an under area here to it. And then this addition was made in the early 2000s here, so this part's new. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I bet it's beautiful where you are, Max. I'd love to go to Germany. I've never been. I've only been to Italy and the United Kingdom in Portugal. I have family in Portugal and friends in the United Kingdom, and I've been to Italy, the United Kingdom, and Portugal and Europe. And Europe's beautiful. I'd love to go to Germany and see the palms there. It's 88, which is really cold for Texas. Wow. I bet they loved it. Yeah, Texas, even in the dry parts, you have those monsoons, the monsoon season, which just downpours. But you're in a more wet part. You're in South Texas, right? Which is like definitely where I would live if I lived in Texas, because you got like coconuts and royal palms down there. And that was like the least affected area by the freeze. It did kill a lot of royals and coconuts, but some survived that I heard of. And you got really nice, like nearly tropical climate down there. I might even try a lipstick palm if I was down there. Just maybe put some Christmas lights on it in winter or something like that. Really good climate down there. That's awesome. 88, yeah. 88 and 90% humidity is probably cold for Texas this time of year. But yeah, that's awesome. It's probably, you guys can look up the weather. I don't even know if it's DC weather. It's probably like 80, 82 here. I'm in Montgomery County, Maryland, just north of DC. So it's always like a degree colder here. Usually, actually, it stays a degree warmer in the summer, but then it gets a degree colder in winter. Just shows you what microclimates do. Even a little bit further south makes a huge difference in winter. Or not a huge, but a little bit. Germany is mild when I was in the Munich airport. Whoa. That's not the, wow, that's crazy. Really? Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know about Munich, but if that's definitely unusual, because I feel like in the winter it stays pretty mild. Even like far north Germany. I mean, that's only along the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, they have trackies. So yeah, I would think you could grow trackies throughout pretty much the whole country. I've seen some big ones in central Germany and huge ones in southern Germany. I won't be doing videos on my channel for a while. Okay, yeah. Definitely got to take some time to rebuild and put stuff back together, Dara. I absolutely understand. And just let us know how it goes. And you know, good luck with all that. I'm really sorry to hear about that. Igny, welcome. You're in northern France, if I remember correctly. Thanks for joining in. I really appreciate it. Good to see you here. If you make Instagram, I show you a bunch of the stuff I have. Oh, yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, I don't have Instagram right now. I just have Facebook. You guys can look at me. My name is Alex Hi on Facebook. You guys can friend me or whatever you like. I'm part of a lot of palm groups. I started a couple groups. I started the DC area palm and exotic plants enthusiasts. You guys can join that group if you want. Most people that post on there aren't even from DC. It's just a general palm and exotic plant enthusiast group, and I post pictures of DC exotica sometimes. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, also I have like Eastern Redwood and Sequoia growers. That's not really a group I participate in much, but I just posted a couple pictures because there are some nice ones here, and I'm part of a lot of other groups, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, everything's doing pretty well, and I'm gonna head to the back. I'll head back here in a second, but just want to show you guys how everything's doing. Yeah, I will probably might join Instagram at some point, but not yet. Let's see. Sorry. Yeah, it would be cool if you hadn't. Yeah, I want to at some point, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I will. You have planted a rapist? Yeah, I did plant a rapist. Right there. I'll go show it to you. I've never gone past Dallas, and the only other country I've been to, Mexico. Awesome. That is the top country on my bucket list to go to, is Mexico. I think Mexico is incredible. I mean, you know, people say good things about Mexico, but I think it's actually a pretty underrated country from what I've seen. The pictures look incredible. The history, I'm a huge history buff. You know, just the colonial history, the pre-colonial history with like the Aztecs and all the pre-Columbian societies there. Just the history, the culture is so rich, and the flora is incredible. You got palms all over the country, and I think Mexico is amazing. That's the top country on my bucket list, so that's really awesome. But yeah, I definitely want to go to Mexico. Will do. It's going to take a while to rebuild it. Yeah, definitely, Dara. You had a lot of stuff in your garden, so I'm sure it will, but it's a painful process, but I know you'll do it, and I know your garden will look even better soon enough. So good luck with that, Dara. I'm so sorry to hear about that. Show your sable. I will show my sable. I have several sables, actually. Here's the rapist that you were asking about. I just mentioned that I'd be bringing it inside soon because I was going to leave it out, but they're not fully hardy here, so I'm just going to bring it in at some point. And you know, it's a beautiful palm. They're super indoor tolerant, so I wanted to keep it indoors in the winter. I don't think I'm going to end up planting it again unless I move to a warmer climate. I think I'm just going to keep it as an indoor palm in the DC area. They're not fully hardy here. Look at this little pad. This broke off from one of my punches, and I planted it. And the other thing, it ended up rotting because like the gardeners dug it up. From my neighbor's gardeners dug it up. But the new pad's doing well. This is a punch of Humifusa, Eastern Prickly Pear. And lots of new suckers on here, by the way. This new sucker, by the way, completely emerged since I planted it. This thing wasn't even here. Or maybe it was and it had just emerged, but the point is this thing's grown a lot. Lots of suckers in there, so. Yep, let's go look at this. You asked about the sable. I will show you that right now. This is, I'm gonna actually make an update video on this soon, but this is my sable minor, and it actually has all these two-pronged fronds, and it's just put out, or it's putting out its first mature frond, which doesn't have 3, but 4 beautiful petioles on it. Just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, not petioles, leaflets. Yeah, just absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to see how the frond opens up, because this is our first mature frond here, and that's gonna look super cool. It's sort of getting choked out. I intentionally planted it in this because these are both in very shade tolerant palms. I planted them in shady spot, but yeah, it's getting kind of choked out here, so I'm gonna rip out some of those weeds at some point. They're not weeds, but they're just ground cover. I might rip some of that out. And this thing's put out a new sucker recently. This thing came out recently, beautiful and bright green. Like I said, it had a little bit of browning on it, the needle palm, but the brown fronds seem to have, I trimmed some away, and yeah, it's done really well, and it's really green now. I mean, look at this thing, beautiful. I really like how it looks. I think it looks great. And these needles aren't quite sharp yet, but they will be soon. These are devilish. I've gotten pricked by needles on a mature needle palm with like a 4 foot wide trunk at the arboretum. Oh, that hurts, I'll tell you. Apparently they use the needles for sewing in the colonial South, is what I heard. That's why it's called that. That's what the guy at Sago Palms said. Maybe that's just local lore, but maybe it's true for all I know. I have no idea, but that's super cool. I didn't know that. I always love hearing about the history of how palms are used, especially in like by native peoples around the world. Before we had like all this technology and stuff, people used palms for everything. Like in the Amazon, all the houses, all the weapons, all the food, all came from palms. It's really interesting. I have this book called Natural History of Palms, which I've been reading lately, and it's super fascinating and talks a lot about that. So that's what I find very fascinating. One of the things I find fascinating about palms, amongst a bunch of other things, of course. The farmer is helping us to repair everything. Oh, your jubei is dead? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, that's terrible. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Is the farmer the guy whose cattle came and destroyed? Yeah, he should definitely, whoever's cattle that is, definitely has to help you repair it. He should, quite honestly, he should be paying for any plant loss he should be paying for, because that's your garden. That isn't just like a native plant. Those are, rare exotic plants. He should be paying for that. That's his fault. It's his cattle. He should be paying for those repairs. That's crazy. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, but hopefully you'll find another jubei. They're not too hard to come by, and I honestly would love to try one here in a sheltered microclimate. I think they can make it through a few winters in the DC area unprotected, and maybe I'll wrap them or something, maybe like C9s or something. But I think in a very sheltered microclimate, like for example, there's a sheltered courtyard in the U.S. Botanic Garden, which is closed right now, and I haven't been able to see it, but once I get in there, I'll make a video. And they have a mature, probably about 10 foot tall, Trachycarpus wagnerianus, the only mature waggy that I've ever seen in person in the DC area. Actually, there's this one house that might have one. I can't remember. Anyways, one of the only mature waggies in the DC area, and it's magnificent. I've seen pictures of it, and it's never been protected. They're supposedly less hardy than Fortunae, but it's in not only the best microclimate in the DC area, the south side of the National Mall, right along the river, but it's also sheltered right up against the wall of the greenhouse outside. So I think a jubei could probably make it there for a little bit, maybe until it grows over the top of the wall. But yeah, yes, it's his cattle. Ah, wow. Well, I'm glad to hear he's a nice person helping you rebuild. Some people here might be jerks about that and say, oh, it's your problem, you deal with it. But I'm glad to hear he's hopefully a nicer guy and helping you rebuild. That's really terrible to hear about that, Dara. Anyways, yeah, you guys can let me know if you want to see anything. I'll go show you some of the self-seeded sables, which these seeds are tough. I mean, people were saying, oh, you better be careful with these seedlings in winter. I think they make it fine, I've heard it's gonna be a rough winter. Maybe my trackies will be put to the test, but these seedlings will do fine. I've seen naturalized sable seedlings in the garden beds at the Air and Space Museum everywhere. They actually started ripping them out. There were so many. They just did super well. I mean, they never even, no browning in any winter that I've ever seen. So these should make it fine. I tossed these around like December from the National Arboretum. This is seed I collected from the National Arboretum. I just tossed a bunch of seeds around. And these things, the seeds made it through winter and probably germinated in like early spring or something. Or maybe mid-spring, late spring, I don't know when exactly. But these seeds just made it through winter and on the ground, and they all germinated pretty much. So yeah, a very high percentage of the seeds that I collected germinated. So that's really good to see. And I didn't even scatter them here. I scattered them all the way over there. So I'm guessing this was a squirrel or rodent or something like that scattered this seedling here. But it's sort of in the way of the path. No one steps here. Usually people step more on the stones. But, I'm not really worried. No one really walks here, but maybe I'll cover it at some point. Thankfully, it'll become more noticeable as it grows. But I didn't even notice this until last week. And this thing's obviously been here for a little while. That's just super cool to see. And you see it has that classic sable strap leaf on it. Just beautiful. And that's just super cool to see these seedlings self-seeding here. I mean, from seed I scattered around, just really awesome. And same with in the woods where I scattered them. I'm gonna continue to scatter them all over the woods in the DC area. I'm gonna try to just naturalize them all over the place. I go hiking a lot in locations far and wide in the DC area, Maryland, Virginia. And I'm just gonna bring sable seeds everywhere I go. I need to collect them. I haven't collected them in a while, but when I do, I'm just gonna be, you know, I'm not gonna scatter them all here. I wanna scatter them more in other locations because I've scattered a bunch here already. But I mean, you can see these things grow like weeds. And look at this. This one got crushed by the hose. I moved the hose over there. It was going around the back of these plants. This one got crushed a little bit. You can see it's sideways, but it should make it. These things are tough. But yeah, look at how many seedlings are here. So this is Liriope. No, this is not a seedling. Yeah, so this is all Liriope, which is just a grass. I think it's even invasive in some areas. I tried to dig it up, but it keeps coming back. It's very tough. But you can see the difference between, for example, Liriope, which has this greenish, you know, just flat blade, and the Sable Minor, which has that, you know, strap leaf look to it. It's thick, it's got those ridges, those strap leaf, and it's also that bluish tinge, which easily distinguishes it from Liriope. And it's also standing straight up. It's a lot stiffer, whereas these bend over, so that's easier to see. And yeah, we've got a lot more seedlings there. These are all seedlings. You guys see all those? Those are all seedlings here. Sorry, let me focus this. The focus on this thing's really bad. I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, it just keeps like going blurry, and I have to refocus it constantly. But yeah, Sable Minor seeds everywhere, all back there. Yeah, no one really steps in here, and I've been careful to tell people, my family, everyone else, not to step in here, because this is my garden bed, and I do not want people stepping on these Sable Minor seedlings, you know. These are valuable stuff. I mean, look how many there are. There's gotta be, I counted just in this bed here, not to mention there's several others, outliers. I counted at least 35, 40. And yeah, there's a lot. And there's gonna be more probably coming up soon. But yeah, just everywhere. This is one of the husks from the Bismarck palm I tried to save to no avail. That thing did not grow back. But look at this one, already putting out its second strap leaf. Beautiful, so cool. Two there by the trachea. This is my Fortunae. This thing looks good. Got my Wagnerianus here. It's another Sable Minor. This one looks really good. Although it doesn't have any mature fronds yet, like the other one. And Tichiel's doing super well. But yeah, thankfully they're all, or maybe some of them have been mowed over for all I know, but most of them are growing a little bit in here, so people stepping on the grass won't exactly step on them. But I do need to be careful if we have guests over ever. I don't want to lose any of these seedlings. Whoa. Oh, look at that thing. Okay, I got my lizard out here. Look at the size of that cricket. Where is it? I just lost it. There we go. Look at that. That's a camelback cricket. Wow. Gotta get that. I gotta get my lizard out here to eat. He'll munch that thing right up. Okay, so over here we have there are 3 more seedlings. You can see this. Again, I didn't scatter them here either. I only scattered them in that bed over there. But yeah, so we got one there. We have one there, and then another one that got chewed on a little bit by something, rodent, squirrel. But it's actually doing really well. Yeah, and thankfully they didn't chew the whole thing, so this thing should be just fine. I was looking here, and I remember there were 3 here, and I was like, you know, I was really worried I'd lost one, but thankfully it just got chewed on a bit, and hopefully it'll make it. You know, I'm the kind of person that, you know, I can just scatter as many seeds as I want here, and there's like 40 Sable Minor seedlings just here. But if I'm the kind of person, if I lose one seedling, I'm, you know, it's a sad loss for me. So I'm very protective over my palms, and I don't want to lose any of them to anything. So yeah, those seedlings should be doing well, and hopefully we'll have a sable jungle here. If nothing interferes, one day there'll be like a sable jungle in there, and hopefully all over. I want to scatter more seedlings around there and in the front, and yeah, that's a dream of mine. Sable jungle. This is the flagpole here. And yeah, lucky. Yeah, Dara, you are lucky you have seedlings. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, you have a lot of naturalized Trichocaris fortunae seedlings. I guess you probably scattered those around. You have a ton of them. So hopefully those will grow back and help to sort of fill in the void a little bit. I want to buy a 5-acre property, and I just line up a bunch of palms. I would love to see that. I love that look. Like when I was driving out, I went on a trip this summer to California. I did a backpacking trip there. It was awesome. And when I was out there, they a lot of those, like we were in the Central Valley of California, in Northern California, between San Francisco and Yosemite. So it's just completely flat. It's actually really humid there. And you see there's like a lot of vineyards and olive ranches there. And if you drive down, like if you look at like the entrance, because it's so flat, you can see for miles and miles. If you look down like the entrance roads, they're like all dirt roads into the olive ranches and into the vineyards. All of the entrance roads were lined with these giant, you know, sky duster Mexican fan palms, and some California fan palms and other ones, you know, Brahia and stuff like that. But it was just super cool to see them lined up like that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I love that. Yeah, I grow like a whole grove, like a grove of date palms or something like that. Washies, yeah, I love that look. This is my Eucalyptus stellulata. I finally staked it up. And it looks really good. It's got a bit of browning. I haven't watered it really at all, but it's in partial shade, so it's doing well. It can tolerate the partial shade, and it also helps to keep the soil a little more moist, so I don't have to water it as much, you know, in those hot, dry days without rain. So it's done well. It's done really well. Look at that thing. Hasn't grown quite as much as my other eucalyptus, obviously, but it's probably a good 2 feet, 1.5, 2 feet. I had another cinerea here, which just got completely chopped back. This thing got completely mowed over, and that was really unfortunate. But yeah, this is the stem. Maybe it'll grow back. I hope so. I mean, it's still got the roots intact. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that big. It was probably like up to here maybe, but someone mowed it over. There's one of the leaves of it, one of the branches. But yeah, everything's doing well for the most part. Just want to show you guys that. And yeah, hope you guys are all doing well. And it's a nice day. Can't complain. It's beautiful, actually. Whoa, look at this. Wow, lots of strange insects out here. This is a I forget what they're called. It's like it's a moth. It turns into a moth, not a butterfly, but it's a kind of caterpillar, obviously. And hopefully it hasn't been run over. It looks like it's struggling a bit. They're behind the car here, but yeah, that's super cool to see. I see those every now and then. It's a cool species, and turns into like a grayish white moth, I'm pretty sure. Actually gets pretty big. I call them palm seedling eaters. That's a good name, yes. They absolutely are. They are palm seedling eaters. They are a threat to the garden. Gotta keep that thing far away. But thankfully nothing's eaten that many, just a couple of my palms. One of my Sago minor seedlings, which I planted in the median, was actually doing well in the median in my street where the eucalyptus are. And then it just disappeared one day. I mean, I didn't even see the base of it. Now that I think about it, it was probably just chewed back so far I couldn't even see the green in it. But it was a Sago minor seedling, and it was just gone one day. Yeah, I mean, either it was completely eaten or someone just ripped it out. Although people don't really weed there. There's a lot of weeds, so I doubt someone ripped it out. I don't know. But yeah, all's well in the garden. And yeah, everything looks pretty good. I'm looking for seedlings here. I wonder if there are any like over here, because there's always Laurel here, which I try to dig it out. But gotta imagine there's some back in here from all the seeds I scattered. This thing is almost dead. This is my Spanish moss. I haven't really watered it, misted it at all. It's not doing well, as you can see. I left it there. I mean, I'm not gonna do anything with it, even if it dies. I'll just leave it there decomposed. But there's like one live bit of Spanish moss there, and almost all of it's dead. The top bit is live a little bit, but yeah, it was like flowering even a little bit, but no, it's just not done well. I don't know if it's just too shaded out there, if it doesn't get enough moisture, I don't know. It's not the ideal climate for them, but I've seen some in these more northern areas. I've seen lots of Spanish moss and a live oak in Nashville. I saw a picture of that, and some huge eucalyptus there. It's got a pretty nice climate there. Definitely comparable to the DC area, maybe even warmer. But yeah, everything's doing well, and seedlings galore here. Let me go take a look back there. Yeah, I just scattered the seeds there sort of haphazardly. I didn't actually think they'd really grow. I didn't really expect much of them because I scattered them in winter. I'm just like, I don't really have anything to do with these. So I scattered them hoping they'd grow, obviously. I didn't want to get rid of them, but thankfully, like pretty much all of them have grown. Pulling out some weeds here. Liriope. Don't want to pull out those sables, but yeah, look at that. There's a seedling there. Gotta pull out that liriope. So you can see the liriope difference here versus the actual sable minor seedlings, which are doing really well. This is an eastern prickly pear, or Pachituafusa. I knocked off the top pad by accident, but the other one's doing well. I mean, look at how many seedlings there are there. Just look at that view. That's a pretty nice view. Look at all the seedlings, so cool. I'm so glad to see they've germinated and grown really nicely. My AG teacher convinced me to put beans in the same spot my washi was in, and I did it, and I found out that they were actually shoot vines. What? Really? Oh my god, wow. That doesn't sound good. Wow, that is not good. Well, hopefully your washi's okay. I would rip them out if I were you. I don't know what they are, but that's crazy. Look at that little seedling coming out there. Huh, it's interesting to see. I got a whole about 30 or so sable palmetto seedlings inside in pots, which I was gonna plant, but now I just decided, I'll just plant them next spring, and then they'll be a lot bigger and more established for winter. And I'll make a video on those. I actually haven't made one in a while. He was in West Africa for 5 years, and this is his 3rd year teaching in my high school. So really cool. That's awesome. Sounds like a cool guy. Well, it sounds cool. I hope he's not trying to sabotage your palms, but yeah, that is cool. West Africa, they got a lot of palms there. The entire African continent. I think every nation in Africa has at least one palm species native to it, with the exception of Western Sahara, which is, disputed territory by Morocco and neighboring states. But yeah, I have this map that shows like different native palms to areas. It's super cool. I should make a video of it. It's like a palm distribution map. Looks like a palm distribution map, and there's some really terrible ones online. There's only one that's really good. It shows like every jurisdiction in the world, every nation, states of the U.S., which palms are native to. And yeah, Africa just has this insane palm diversity, especially on Madagascar, because it's an isolated island, just like Cuba. Cuba and Madagascar are sort of the two palm diversity centers of the world. Maybe New Caledonia also, because all these islands, it's where, it was once land, and then they became separated off, so you have all this isolation, which creates for, genetic mutations and all these new species that are forming, obviously over millions and millions and millions of years. This is not, a century-long process. This is millions and millions of years, but it's super, super interesting just to follow that. And yeah, lots of palms across Africa. Lots of great climates there, and yeah, if I lived in Africa, I'd probably live not on the mainland. I'd probably live in Madagascar, just because of the palms there. It's just incredible. I have the book Palms of Madagascar. You guys can buy it. It's a great book by John Dransfield. He's one of the top palm specialists of the world. And there's actually a genus, Dransfieldiana. No, it might be an epithet. I don't know if it's a genus or epithet, but named after him. He and another palm researcher wrote the book Palms of Madagascar, and I would love to go there sometime. The baobab tree, which is these huge, giant, crazy looking trees. I mean, the bases of these things are like so wide. Yeah, look up BAOB tree. They're crazy looking, and there's just so many cool plants and palms and all sorts of stuff in Madagascar. But yeah, that's probably where I'd live if I had to live somewhere in Africa. I mean, there's a lot of cool places to live. Maybe Liberia also. Liberia's got interesting U.S. ties and stuff. Lots of history. Yeah, it's always interesting to think about like where you'd live if you had to live somewhere. I love thinking about this hypothetical scenarios, like looking at different microclimates. Basically, anywhere I would live, anywhere I will live at some point once I grow up. You know, after college and stuff. Anywhere I will live will basically be determined by climate, pretty much, unless somehow my interests change, which I don't see that happening. But pretty much anywhere I live will be determined by climate and what I can grow there, pretty much. So Southern California is a dream of mine. I'd love to be able to grow like something like lipstick palms, but you know, I think Southern California has an interesting mix of, it's incredibly warm year round, so you can grow basically everything. And then there's also some things you can zone push with. Like, people say it's absolutely impossible to grow a lipstick palm there because they're so cold sensitive. They can't take Southern California's weather. Well, I would be interested to try it up against like a south facing wall with like C9 Christmas lights, maybe a heater, soil heater. Who knows, maybe it could be done. I've heard people try and fail. I've heard of people who've tried and failed multiple times, numerous times, but I would love to try it. Coconut, I'd love to have like a coconut grove in California. That's actually my dream. Plant like 10 coconuts, get like a coconut grove. I would love to see that, but yeah, that's just a dream. Just California dreaming. All right, folks. He actually grew mule palms from seed and cacao from seed. Wow. Oh, wow. That's really crazy. Wow, Jacob, you have a pretty interesting teacher. That's amazing. Sounds like a really good man. Good humanitarian. That's really incredible. Yeah, you should ask for him for one of those mule palms. I'd love one of those. Joseph's Animations, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. I've been live streaming here and just around the garden as I've done lately. I really want to, next live stream, I'm going to try to go somewhere interesting. I mean, maybe my garden's a little interesting, but you guys are probably getting bored of it. You know, a change of scenery is always good. My favorite place to do a live stream from the DC area is either the Arboretum or the south side of the National Mall. South side of the National Mall is definitely the best because you've got so many palms and exotic plants. I mean, just walking once and looking at everything could take like an hour, you know, if you're talking about it all. So lots of exotic plants there, super cool, and tons of palms. The Smithsonian is just really good institution. They plant a lot of palms. I mean, they really do. You gotta admire them for that. And their museums are free, which is pretty cool. All right, guys. Yeah, Joseph, how's the weather where you are? You're in the Dallas area? Am I correct? Are you in the Dallas area? So I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say it's 85 in Dallas. Or yeah, if you are in Dallas, maybe I'm completely wrong. I know you're somewhere in Texas. I believe you're in the Dallas area. I'm gonna guess it's 85, but I have no idea. I mean, Dallas stays pretty hot for most of the year, and then in winter it dips a little bit, but you got a pretty nice climate there. I mean, people don't give it enough credit. I think Texas is one of the best states in terms of varied climates, you know, throughout the state. I mean, you've got this like Great Plains / desert area with cactus and stuff in the northern panhandle. Then you've got, you know, all sorts of desert landscapes near El Paso, Big Bend National Park. And then you go to the south and you've got what's almost like the tropics. And, you know, people use the word tropics a lot to describe like Southern California and stuff. But South Texas is like almost the tropics. I mean, you're not far from like a true tropical climate. It's subtropics, obviously, but you can grow all sorts of tropical stuff, all sorts of exotic, you know, fruit trees, all sorts of, you know, royal palms, coconuts. There's a lot of coconuts there, at least before the freeze. But yeah, you're close. It's 82 Fahrenheit. Okay, I was close. Yeah, yeah. If it's 82 Fahrenheit, you know, I actually didn't check the weather today. Well, I don't know what it is here. It feels like it's cooled down. I'm gonna guess it's like 78 here in DC, and I'm in Montgomery County, Maryland. So I say DC area a lot. I'm not in DC actually. I'm about a mile from the border. I'm in Maryland, across the border, and it's usually, sometimes it stays a little bit hotter here because this is what I find, at least when I look at the weather, is that it's usually like the high temperature is usually a degree higher up here because we're at a little bit of a higher elevation, away from the river. River helps cool things, but it also helps moderate things. So usually in winter, we're a degree colder, and you know, those microclimates can make a big difference. Oh no, there's a squirrel near my palm seedling. I'm not letting that squirrel get at it. No. You stay away from my palm seedling. Sorry, these squirrels, I assume at least they've been responsible for the death of a lot of palm seedlings. So yeah, I'm not letting the squirrels. He was literally right near here. Almost stepped on it. This is, oh, thank God that's not a palm seedling. That's just liriope. This stuff grows like weed, liriope. Where is the palm seedling? Oh, here it is. Don't want to step on this, but yeah, this is one of my Sable Minor seedlings. All right. He went from living in West Africa to the small town of Waslako. I've heard of that. You might have told me about that. Yeah. I heard about it from you, actually. You're in Waslako, right? Is that in South Texas? Like, is it? Are you in like near the Mexican border? That's super cool. Yeah. If you're free anytime, search up Agricore John Romo. Wow, yeah, I definitely need to look that up. Really? He's a chief? Like a tribal chief, or like in that sense? That's crazy. I went to Austin recently, and there's unfortunately cutting down all dead palm. Oh, yeah, I heard that. I mean, of course, it's always good to cut down a dead palm, although, you never know if it's dead until months after. I mean, I've seen them come back like crazy from completely desiccated states. But yeah, I mean, I've also heard about like live queen palms being removed, which definitely didn't need to be. So I hope they're not removing like things that might look dead but actually have a little bit of green. They've been doing that a lot, and it's like, wait, if you have a fully grown palm that's still pushing green, like, just wait a couple months and it'll look back to normal, instead of paying so much money to put in new palms that will not look as good because they were transplanted and everything. But yeah, I'm sorry, that's unfortunate to hear that. You know what? There's always palm booms. I feel like Southern California is in like a palm rut, or like I don't know what you call it, but like a palm. Whoa, squirrel just running out. I feel like Southern California, people like, with each generation, people have different architectural interests. I feel like architecture and palms, I know there's like a webinar about this. They go along a lot. They could like, that was terribly put, but they have a lot in common, and they go together a lot. Like, if you look in Southern California now, a lot of the old Spanish style houses from the early 1900s, which replaced the original, Mexican period homes, are now being replaced with these like huge glass, like entirely glass modern houses, like in the Venice area. I've seen a lot of them. And I feel like with that, people are planning a lot more. I mean, it depends on the palm. Like, I feel like Mexican fan palms, you'll see a lot less being planted. People plant like king palms. King palms sort of go along with the new, I guess, vibe in the architecture in LA. But they also have been planting a lot of like deciduous trees in the street. And it's like, because they said they want more shade, so they started like, a lot of the old Mexican fan palms have been dying in LA, and they've been replacing a lot. They're never going to disappear. The articles, if you look at articles saying like palm trees will disappear from LA one day, that's just, the news always, I definitely don't want to say always, but when it comes to stuff like that, they're trying to grab your attention on something that maybe won't interest people a lot. So they over dramatize it a little bit. The palm trees will never disappear from Southern California, but the city did, announce that they would be replacing old dying palms with other trees like oak and sycamore, which have more shade. And two things on that. First of all, oak and sycamore have huge root systems, so the city's going to need to invest thousands and maybe millions in repairing cracked sidewalks, which you never had with palms, because palms have 100-foot palm can be contained in like an area like that big, because the root system is not invasive. And by invasive, I mean it sort of means the same thing, but I don't mean it's like killing other plants. I mean it's invasive in like the sense that it doesn't take over and it doesn't spread like crazy. It stays in like a root ball. And secondly, oak and sycamore, I mean, there's live oak. I love live oaks, and live oaks are evergreen, but most of the oak species they're planting, and then I've seen it, you'll see it all over all the new companies, like they keep building new like parking lots, and a lot of the new startups in Southern California, they plant all these deciduous trees. They plant oaks and sycamore deciduous, so maybe it'll provide shade like half to 2/3 of the year. But what about that other very good portion of the year? No shade whatsoever. And I mean, just plant like Canary Island date palms, which the roots are not invasive, and it also, especially when they get older, and actually especially when they're younger, provide a ton of shade. So, is it really worth it? I don't think it is. I'm not just looking at it from the standpoint of, I don't want to see people replacing palms with other stuff. I obviously don't. But if you're just looking at it from a logical and, costly perspective, is it really worth it to provide a little bit extra shade, maybe in some instances, when you have to pay for all this repairs and all that stuff? So that's my rant about that. But, in other news, I mean, people say, I feel like palm trees generally have been becoming more popular, and different species like Southern California went from the California fan palm, the native palm, they planted that a lot, the Spanish missionaries, and they planted the Canary Island date palm and the date palm, and then people started planting the Mexican fan palm, and that became the most common one in LA. And now you'll see like pygmy date palm and king palm go a lot in with the sort of new architecture. I feel like it goes a lot well. So you will see people planting king palms a lot. That's become a very common palm in LA more recently. And I feel like in Texas, after every freeze, you just got to wait maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe more. But, you know, soon enough, people are just going to forget about that. They won't forget about it, but people are just going to, more people move in, people move out, you know, populations come and go, and people are going to start planting palms again. Palms are on the upswing right now, just generally. You have so many more available than, we're really living in a good time in terms of palms. You know, you have so many more available in the market, and I'm sure in 50 to 100 years, you'll have so many more available than there are now. But, you know, there's so many more available, so many more in just average box stores that people are, I feel like people are planting a lot more, which is really good to see. And I'm sure Austin, Texas will be planting a lot more palms in the coming decades. So I wouldn't worry, but yeah, that's, I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. And that freeze was absolutely devastating, and it broke my heart to hear about that. So many dead palms in Texas, and unfortunately people died too. Obviously, I don't want to just gloss over that fact. That was absolutely tragic. I know people that lost power, people who had flooding in their basement, frozen pipes. It's just, I know some people in Texas who told me about that, and they experienced it firsthand. It's just tragic, really tragic. But yeah, sorry. I'll get back to your guys' comments. I'm sorry about that. Max Lax, my friend, how are you? Good to see you in here. Where are you again, Max Lax? You've probably told me this. I have a bad memory for these things. I remember some, you know, sometimes, but there's a lot of people in here. I forget sometimes. Where are you, by the way? All right, Jacob Gonzalez. Yep, along the Gulf Coast of Mexico. Gulf of Mexico. Okay, that's awesome. Excuse me. I feel like after you told me about that once, I looked it up, and yeah, I remember hearing it. Yeah, I remember seeing that. So yeah, the Gulf Coast is it's a good location. You've got some good microclimates there. I'd try a coconut, even if it's not bulletproof there. That'd be an interesting test in Wislaco. They sacrificed a goat over him and bled the goat out on him. Whoa. Powdered him with clay. Wow. That's really crazy. Wow. Yeah, I've heard this thing, like this tradition. I think it was like in Tanzania, where you have these tribal people that live like they did. They've been living like for centuries, and there's this tradition where they like slit the goats. It's not a goat. They have a cow, and they slit its neck, and they fill, like, while the cow's still alive, and they just let the wound heal up, and then they do it again. They fill up like a gourd, or like a, you know, like a bottle with the cow's blood from its neck, and it's just pouring out like a stream, and then they drink it. And I saw a video where a guy did this with the, you know, the tribesmen, and he said it like tasted very metallic. But I think that's a kind of gruesome practice. But look, I mean, here in a Western nation, we have to be careful how we critique things, you know. I mean, human sacrifice, thankfully that's not really done anymore, but things like that, I mean, it may seem brutal and inhumane, but it's different. I mean, there's different traditions around the world. I think it's a complicated, you know, my opinion, and obviously we all have different perspective. I don't want to get into all this stuff, but, you know, I think it's important to take a balanced perspective on really anything. I mean, you look at these people, I mean, yeah, there's obviously, you know, maybe abuses and things we would consider wrong to animals, but it's also, you know, tradition and for religious reasons. And if you told these people just stop doing it now, you know, that's not very respectful, and there'd be a lot of outrage. So you gotta take a balanced perspective on really anything. So that's just my opinion. That's crazy to hear, though. That's must be an important man. Sounds like it. Near the Outer Banks. Right. North Carolina. Yeah. You got a good microclimate there. That's like the northern. Even if you look at the Wikipedia page of, I don't know if you're near Cape Hatteras, but that's like the bend out. It's like 20 miles out from the coast because of that nice microclimate there. If you look at the Wikipedia page for Cape Hatteras, it says it's the northernmost place in the U.S., or on the East Coast at least. Definitely not in the U.S., on the East Coast, where you'll find big Canary Island date palms. And it's really true. I mean, I saw one in Virginia Beach that I think was protected. But, yeah, a northernmost place you'll find unprotected big Canary Island date palms. I've seen some that are probably nearing 20 feet in the Outer Banks and on Cape Hatteras, because it's like the edge of the Cape. It's like the Cape, it's like where the Cape, it bends out and then goes back in, and Cape Hatteras is like out here. So the coastline in North Carolina is going down before it goes back out to Florida, and then this goes out. So the coast is going like that, and the Outer Banks, Cape Hatteras, is here. And there's also Cape Hatteras variety of sable minor, which grows wild there, which is quite hardy as well. But yeah, it's super cool to see the Canary Island date palms out there. Lots of cool palms there, camerops, everything. And there's also apparently were native sable palmetto on Cape Hatteras, but now it's only native to Bald Head Island in North Carolina, because apparently in the Civil War they used it a lot because the trunks were very durable. And yeah, apparently they were just not hunted, but they were chopped to extinction on Cape Hatteras. But I've seen someone posted a picture on Palm Talk of a palmetto growing wild in the woods there, because they have cultivated specimens a lot. They have a ton of cultivated palmettos up and down the Outer Banks. So who knows, maybe there's still some wild palmettos out there somewhere in the wilderness of Cape Hatteras. Who knows? It's interesting to think about, and I would love to see them sort of reclaim their territory. I'm sure they will someday. I scattered some sable palmetto and minor seeds around my house. Hope they grow soon. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm coughing a lot. I definitely don't have COVID, but I got tested recently. I got to get tested regularly for school. I scattered some sable. Okay, yeah, that's awesome, Joseph. Yeah, I scattered some. I mean, the point is they definitely will grow, because I scattered sable minor seeds here in a much colder climate in December, and they, as you can see here, I don't know if you were here when I showed you, but they have germinated like crazy. I mean, those are all sable minor seeds. They have germinated a ton. So yeah, the bottom line is I'm sure they will. And yeah, palmetto and minor are bulletproof in your climate, and I'm jealous. And that's just awesome. I love to see that. Yeah, and there's native minor where you are, as you said, which is super cool. I haven't seen any yet, but I would love to see them. So far, I've only seen pygmy dates. Really? You've seen pygmy dates? I can imagine they would survive there, but who knows? I'm always blown away by what palms do. So I saw one in a protected microclimate in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is like much further north than you usually see them. And it was doing fine, but I don't know if it had made it through winter yet. Who knows? I mean, if there's Canary Island date palms there, I bet you a pygmy date could actually make it there temporarily, at least. That's super cool. Kind of off topic, earlier today I went to downtown Dallas, and the tops of the skyscrapers. Oh, wow, that's super cool. I love that. There's no skyscrapers in DC, by the way, because there's a height limit. The tallest buildings in DC, not exceeding the height limit, are about 180 feet. So it's just like, it's crazy if you look at the view of DC skyline. It's like the Washington Monument, the National Cathedral, which are both several hundred feet, and then you just have this flat, just all the buildings are flat, because they're all very short. There's like 10, 11 stories are like the tallest all the buildings are. So really unfortunate. You have to go to Arlington, Virginia, across the river, and like the suburbs to actually see skyscrapers. There's a few of them, but that is so cool. I love that. Looked pretty cool. That definitely looked cool. I love that. Yeah, fog is so interesting, and you know, California is such a cool place with its with the fog there. So I saw someone, I was out there once. I was at the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was so interesting. You could see the top and bottom of the Golden Gate Bridge, but like the middle section of the bridge was covered in fog. It was so cool. It's just like a lone fog cloud. It was so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, guys. See how much longer? I just want to check if that was sable minor or liriope. I gotta be careful what I pull, because I've been pulling all this liriope here. It was actually originally started here and went all the way back there, and I dug it all out to plant these palms. It was actually a ton of work for not much, so I don't know why I did it. You know, not much results is what I meant. It was just a bad idea. I don't know why I dug it all out, but I mean, I don't really want it to spread much. I don't really like the liriope at all. It's just, you know, it's sort of, you know, invasive grass. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And these sable minor will become more distinguishable from the liriope once they get older. But you can definitely see the difference between them. You know, between this sticking straight up sable minor and the leaning over liriope. There's a big difference. But yeah, I don't want anyone to rip those out. All right, guys, I'm gonna head back to the front, and then I'm gonna end it. But yeah, thank you guys all for joining in. And I say this every time, because I do. And I'm gonna continue saying it because it's true. You guys make this. You guys are the ones who make it fun, and I just sort of babble on. And you guys always, you know, are so great to talk to, and I love hearing from people, not just from around the country, but from around the world. And I think we've got a good mix in here today of people from all over the place, and I love hearing people with different backgrounds, different, you know, origins, and different places, different climates, different, you know, places where palms grow. I always love hearing about that. So, you know, that's super cool, and just really awesome, because you gotta love that. And we may be different, but we're all united in our love of palms, which I think is super neat. So yeah, all right, guys, I'm gonna end it here, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Have a good one, and take care. grandparents who live in... Whoa. That's so cool. I would love to see that. I want to go to Bakersfield. You know, there's like an endemic cactus there. It's the only endangered cactus in California, the Bakersfield cactus. Seems like a cool place. But that is super, super cool. The Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, California is just incredible. You gotta love it. I absolutely do. And that's where I hope to live one day. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. And thanks for watching. Thanks, Jacob. I'll see you too. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.